Fox 10 is taking a deep dive into the water crisis here in Arizona. It affects all of us, from our tap water, our crops, even electricity, and the supply is running short.
Steve Nielsen went to Lake Powell to investigate our ongoing drought and uncover what's being done to safeguard our most important resource in the desert.
There's no place like it, nowhere in the world where the beauty of the landscape's crafted quite like this. A millennium of water etching away at rocks to create a masterpiece. For so many visitors, they just stop and stare, contemplating everything. That's the long view, the bird's eye. But a critical eye reveals problems decades in the making and solutions in short supply. Used to hear water lapping here, now it's just wind blowing across the desert. But approaching Glen Canyon Dam, the sound of heavy machinery is hard to miss.
We pull these up every 7 years to inspect them.
Routine maintenance on the doors that let water in and through to the Colorado River.
When we pull the gate up, it'll be absolutely covered in those mussels.
Invasive mussels, but that's a problem for another day for Bob Martin with the Bureau of Reclamation. Right now, the focus is on the water, or the lack of.
If it persists, further reductions are going to have to be made.
Well, let's just look at the raw facts here. According to Lake Powell historical data, in 2011, the water level was 3,622 feet, and every year it ebbs and flows. But in the last 2 years, there's been a steep decline. It's now fallen to 3,522 feet this month. How low is that really? Elevation markers on the side of the dam stop 100 feet above where the water sits now.
The last time we were at this elevation, we were filling, so this is quite a unique situation that we're in.
32 feet lower, and the elevation will hit 3,490. That's the lowest it can be before the dam no longer generates power. Right now, it produces power for up to 6 million people, but that's in jeopardy.
It's cheap power. It's a real bargain for the utilities, and it's clean power. The emissions that we produce is water going to the southwest. Without that power that we produce, that has to be replaced somehow through other sources, and that could be coal or nuclear.
The more water, the more power. The weight of the water pushes it through the turbines in the dam, generating the power and eventually feeding the river on the other side.
It moved all that gravel.
The water would still have to drop another 150 feet before it can no longer pass through the dam, drying out the river that leads to Lake Mead, becoming a dead pool. But even at its current levels, the impacts are felt everywhere on the lake. When the lake's been at its fullest, we'd be underwater right now. How do we know that? Take a look at one of the original boat ramps here. It's completely dry, and you have to go a long ways down to get to where the marina is now. A much larger boat ramp now ends in orange barricades. And again, the marina is still a ways off. Another ramp's being constructed at the current water level to get boats in and out, and there are plans to prevent the levels from dropping even more. Hundreds of millions of federal dollars are being invested to create or conserve more water. This spring, the Bureau announced more water will be released from reservoirs that feed Lake Powell, and less water will be released from Glen Canyon.
That water is to help get us through next year and stay above minimum power pool, 3490. In a sense, if we were a farm, we're financing another year's operation, hoping that next year's crop is better.
But hope only gets you so far. Cities in Maricopa County have announced plans to reduce water usage by 5%. Farmers brace for tighter restrictions in the desert, and businesses on Lake Powell are urgently trying to get the word out that there is still a beautiful lake here, regardless of where exactly the water levels stand.
Now with the way that the level is now, it's still amazing because you can still get to a lot of those canyons. Just getting to them is a little bit more difficult.
Martin says you can always hope, and recent history backs him up.
The worst water year that we've had was in 1977, and the best water year that we had was in like 1982-83 time frame. So that's a pretty short window to go from the worst to the best. So we never know what Mother Nature is going to throw at us. We have to be wise and see what the patterns have been, and adjust our water usage accordingly. But it could turn around on us. You just don't know. But you have to have that optimism that next year is going to be better.
Steve Nielsen, Fox 10 News.
Our coverage of the drought continues in the coming weeks. We'll take a dive into how the water levels on Lake Powell are affecting businesses that rely on the lake.
And we're going to talk with farmers in Arizona who are already being impacted by water restrictions. Agriculture uses the most water, so they would be impacted the most, at least on the front end. To see more information on lake levels and the decisions being made to keep the dam generating power, you can go to our website, fox10phoenix.com.